Many people get emotionally attached to their framework, and if you ask them what is your favorite framework, they will immediately say React, Angular, Vue. Today, I'm building the same exact app 10 times to compare the chaos, the elegance, and maybe the regrets, and ranking every front-end framework based on the variables like fast, lightweight, development experience, community, and more. We are going to make a list and rank the frameworks from the worst to the best. Don't skip, because the real value of this video comes from the experience, the review of each framework, the pros, the cons, the pain, and the stupid things. Also, this video deserves support. It was a huge amount of work. Let's start with React. The rules are simple. We will build the same application, a classic to-do list app, using general state only. No local storage, no backend, just plain state management. As you probably know, React does not have a general state built in, and honestly, this is kind of disappointing. Like, this framework has been around for years and still does not have a proper global state? What a shame. Yes, there is a use state, but that only works inside components and for passing state down to children, but not other way around. No top to down and bottom up control off. To deal with that, you have to install a library like Redux, Toolkit, or Zostand, or whatever it is. Let's be real, React isn't just a fully front-end framework, it's just a library. It doesn't tell you how to do routing or how to fetch data. You are on your own here. And if you want React to be SEO friendly, yeah, you will have to work hard, maybe throw in Next.js or something on top of it. But of course, React is the most popular framework out there. You will get a ton of support from both developers and community. Based on all of that, I'm giving React 5 out of 10. Moving to Next.js. We can say that Next.js is basically a better version of React. Everything React does, Next.js does it 10 times better. And yeah, unlike React, Next.js is actually a framework, not just a library. It comes with built-in routing, data fetching, and multiple ways to handle both. But sadly, because Next.js is built on top of React, that means all of React's bullshit comes with it too, including the same state management problems. So yeah, it's still a pain. To be fair, Next.js is way better for SEO if you use the right rendering methods. But again, since it's built on React, it's benefit from the same ecosystem. Tons of libraries, lot of community support, and plenty of resources. 7.5 of 10. Moving to Vue.js. Well, the first thing you will notice about Vue.js is the simplicity. Well, it's very simple. Everything can be done in one file. If you want logic, template, styling, all clean and beautiful, it's like a symphony. And most interesting part, Vue has working general state management system that actually really good. Now, I have only tried Vue.js 3 times in my entire life. My main experience is with React and Next.js, but when I started coding in Vue, it was just nice and simple. I built the application really fast and it worked on the first try. No weird errors, no config hell, just work. From personal note and from some article I have read online, Vue.js is faster than React, but definitely not one of the fastest out there. According to Stack Overflow, about 16% of developers uses Vue.js, which means it's popular enough to have a huge community and plenty of great libraries. And man, to be honest, some of those UI libraries are beautiful. Now, from personal experience, Vue isn't the best when it comes to SEO, but with some extra effort, you can make it work. Final score, 7.5 out of 10. Moving to Angular. Okay, I know a lot of people won't like this, but honestly, this is one of the ugliest framework I have ever used. Sure, it's easier than developing in Magento Perlin, but if you are talking about just front-end framework, this is easily one of the worst. Now, for context, I just jumped in and started coding. I didn't read a full documentation, but hey, Same with all frameworks in this video, except React and Next.js. Still, the experience with Angular was not smooth at all. You quickly realize that Angular has changed a lot over the years, which means you cannot just read an article and expect it to work perfectly. There are different types of components, different level of complexity, and overall a lot of confusion. Also, it's not fast. Vue.js is faster, there's no doubt about it. And there's no general state management unless you use something called ngrx, which is, in my opinion, ugly and painful. Plus, the design patterns in Angular, they are really force you to generate components, services, modules. You end up with bunch of files just to make simple things work. Now I get it, this is a professional enterprise style design pattern, and yeah, if I actually read the docs in the first place, maybe my experience would have been different, but I just don't like it. That said, the framework is popular. According to Stack Overflow, about 19.4% of the developers still using it. So emotionally speaking, I would give Angular 0 out of 10. But if I'm being fair, I will give it 6 out of 10. Moving to Svelte. Svelte is something else. It comes from word behind. This framework exceeds the limits of frontend comprehension. Seriously, this thing insanely fast, maybe the fastest frontend framework out there. Have you ever browsed a website built with this beautiful framework? It's blazing, it's amazing. As for development experience, everything was super smooth. Literally, this was my first time trying Svelte, and it felt so clean. It even has a general state built in, no needs to waste time on config or deal with complex state handling. Surprisingly, only 5.9% of developers are using Svelte. But hey, you don't always need to chase popularity. Sometimes you find a niche with something truly special. We'll talk about this at the end of the video. Of course, it doesn't have a community as big as React, but it definitely has a solid one with a great support. Final thoughts on this library, 11 out of 10. Just wow. Moving to Solid. Solid is a declarative JavaScript frontend framework, builds fast UIs, maximum control over reactivity. It was created in 2018 and loved by developers for being both pragmatic and performance. On the surface, it looks like React. Components are just JavaScript function that returns JSX, but under the hood, there's no virtual DOM here. Instead, it uses a compiler, more like Svelte, that turns your code into a plain vanilla JavaScript, bringing you as close as the DOM as possible. The framework itself, it's super simple and lightweight. And yes, it has a kind of general state system called singles that made the development experience really good and fast. Also, just like Svelte, Solid is one of the fastest front-end framework out there, no doubt about it. But here is the catch. Only 1.1% of developers are using Solid right now. So yeah, they are definitely at the end of the distribution curve. There is a community, but it's nowhere around the size of React or Vue. Still, it existed and it's growing. Based on all of that, I will give it 6.7. Moving to Lit.js. The interesting thing here, for templates, Lit uses regular template literal in JavaScript. You know these strings wrapped in backticks that let you embed JavaScript inside HTML using this sign. Kind of similar to JSX in React. Lit doesn't have a support two-way data binding, so I had to set manual event listener on input to change, update the to-do text. The bottom line here with Lit is this: you give you nicer way to build standard web components without needing to dive deep into the understanding of web components APIs. Sadly, Lit doesn't have a general state, but it does have internal reactive state using reactive properties. So if you want a general global state, you'll need to work around it. That said, the framework is very simple. It feels like vanilla JavaScript, very lightweight and kind of fast. There's no clear data about how many people are using Lit, but I would say the community is pretty small, and the support resources are limited compared to bigger frameworks, so it's fast, but definitely not one of the fastest. Final score 5 out of 10. Moving to Mithril. The first thing you will notice when you're using this library is just that you have to include it in head tag, which is instantly give you jQuery vibes. Your file is basically just HTML. Now, I know some people will get mad at comparison. It does feel old school. Sure, it means it's lightweight and really fast, but it also means you're starting with a pure minimum setup. There is also no global state here, just like some other lighter frameworks. Mithril is kind of wild card on this list. It's very lightweight and yeah, it's often performed better than bigger name frameworks. It uses a virtual DOM like React, Vue, but the developer experience is very different. To get started, you just create index.html file, drop the Mithril script tag and go from here. You can define components using function, classes, or even plain objects. You just attach data and methods to the object. Simple. It also has a special lifecycle hooks like on init. But here is the thing. Yeah, it's simple. Yeah, it's fast. But it's not the simplest. It's not the fastest. And definitely not the most popular. And honestly, I just don't get the hype. I don't really understand why people are using it. Maybe it's just a company-specific requirements or project that needs something quick. Maybe it works for building something small really fast, but I don't get it. 4 out of 10. Moving to Alpine.js. Weirdly, I like Alpine. Yeah, it has that old school vibe. Yeah, it just import the framework directly in your HTML like the previous one. But this one, I get it actually. It's only 7 kilobytes, super small, very simple, and somehow almost everything you can expect from a full front-end framework is here. Alpine was designed for a small, not extensible application. So if you need to build something basic like simple single application, why go and install something huge like Next.js? Just drop Alpine in and go. And honestly, you'd be shocked how much you can build with just few lines of code. For that reasons, its clear purpose, I'm giving Alpine a solid 7 out of 10. Moving to Stencil. Stencil is another front-end framework focused on web components. It's come from Iconic team, and in fact, the Iconic framework itself, it's built on Stencil. They won this route that Iconic could work out of the box with React, Angular, Vue, thanks to web components. To get it started, you just run npm init stencil and it sets up TypeScript project for you. Just like Lit, Stencil takes each component and compiles it down to standard web component. Each component is written as a class with declaratives, again very similar to Lit. So what is the deal? Basically it just meh. It feels meaningless, to be honest. There is no huge community out there, and there is not a lot of support, and yep, no general state. Final score 4.5 out of 10. Bonus, vanilla JavaScript. I even made a whole video asking, is it better just to build apps in vanilla JavaScript instead of something like React, and why companies are ditching React and going back to the basics. Now obviously, since it's just pure JavaScript, no frameworks, no extra layers, it's super lightweight, crazy fast and very simple. But don't forget, you are on your own here. There is no general state, no design patterns, no routings, no tools. Just you, a blank file, and the will to suffer. If you are trying to build a huge application without patterns, structure, or planning, you are setting yourself for a long, painful coding journey full of regrets and spaghetti code. But for sure, our simple little to-do app, it was actually really smooth. Final rating 7 out of 10. Now, remember the intro when I said a lot of people are emotionally attached to their framework? If I ask what is your favorite framework, the real answer, if you are a pro developer, should be either null or everything. Because pro don't marry frameworks, they use tools to get the job done. So the correct answer to this is it doesn't matter. Sometimes, and that happened to me personally, you have to learn a tool that's unpopular, weird, even ugly, just because a specific company uses it. And you are targeting that company. That's really all of it. But based on today's results, if we are talking about objective, no hype, no anything, it just Svelte is the winner. Thank you so much for watching this video and see you in the next one.